Hey everyone, I'm Joey. We are still getting stuff moved over to our new house. This is the place we've been staying. It's been a really great place for the past year, but we're really happy to have our own. If you want a tour of our newly renovated income generating property, go check out part 1 of this video series. Today I'm going to be going over part 2, which is the research that went into buying a house in the middle of a recession, how I'm going to be saving $1,000 a month in living expenses, how I'm going to save $100,000 in the course of 5 years, and how I'm turning an $80,000 investment into $1 million in 11 years. So that is what I'm going to explain in today's video. Hope you enjoy. But first, don't forget to like this video. It really helps my channel and it helps other people find this information as well. I'm hoping you find this information useful and that's the reason you're watching. So go ahead and help other people out by hitting the like button and don't forget to subscribe for some more personal finance content. All right, let's head over to the new house and let's get started. Currently, Becca and I pay $1,800 a month at the place that we're renting. This was the first place that we decided to rent coming down here. When she decided to do grad school and we decided to move to Hawaii, we wanted a place to rent. We didn't want to buy right off the bat because we wanted to get a feel for the place, make sure we liked it, and find a good place that we wanted to call home. That place has treated us really well, but it's $1,800 a month in rent. But that's just money we're paying out of pocket that is going to our landlord, Steve. Steve is a made-up name. It's not his real name. I don't even know why I'm censoring his name. I don't even think he will ever watch this video or anyone will really care. But let's just say, for the video purposes, our landlord's name is Steve. So this past year, we've been paying $1,800 to Steve, and all that money is going just directly to him. Yes, we are getting a roof over our heads in exchange for this $1,800. However, we're not building equity, which is ownership in a house. So our mortgage on this house, after a 20% down payment, including mortgage, property taxes, and insurance, other things like that, it comes out to almost exactly $2,000. Well, hold on, $2,000 seems like it's $200 more than I'm currently paying. Yes, hold on. We're gonna be renting out the downstairs and making, at the very bare minimum, $1,200 a month. So that answers the first question of how I'm going to be saving $1,000 a month by buying a house. Yes, I saved up a ton to put down a 20% down payment, and that's going to save me a lot of money in the long run for doing a traditional home loan as opposed to an FHA loan. A traditional loan, you have to put at least a 20% down payment on. For an FHA loan, generally it's about 3.5%, but with an FHA loan, I would pay a lot more in interest over the years as opposed to if I were to save up in the beginning and just put down a 20% down payment in the first place. So that's what I've been doing over the past 4.5 years since I started my company, is saving, and I don't save in a savings account because that loses money because of the inflation rate is 3%. Savings accounts only make 1%. So instead of saving my money in a savings account, I opened up an investment account and I invested into mutual funds and index funds and funds that basically spread out my money over a lot of growing, huge companies like Google and Facebook and Apple. These companies are growing, so my investment value is also going to grow with these companies. After I saved about $80,000, I knew I was ready to buy a house. So this was a little bit of my research going into buying a house. One, it had to be a duplex, and we were looking at duplexes in a bunch of different areas. Our house was the only duplex in Hilo over the 8 months that we were looking for a house. Hilo's property values were rising at a rate faster than the other areas around us, so that was our first step towards buying a duplex in Hilo. Secondly, it's where Becca goes to school, and it's where our tenants are going to want to be close to a downtown area and close to the beach. They are also going to want to have access to the shops and bars and the nightlife of downtown Hilo. So that's why we decided on this particular duplex. And it was completely renovated. Yes, there's a couple little things that we've needed to do, like clean out the attic, put new screens on, put a mailbox in, do some weeding, just general standard stuff, but for the most part, this is an amazing house, an amazing investment, and we're excited to get it finished so that we can start having some visitors come and we can show them around Hilo. Also, don't forget to like this video. It really helps my channel and it helps other people find this information as well. So click that like button right below. I swear it really helps. YouTube uses an algorithm that with the more likes, the more this video will be promoted. So please help me out and click that like button below. Thanks, I really appreciate that. The second thing that I told you I was going to do in the beginning of the video is tell you how I'm going to pay this off in 5 years and also save $100,000 doing it. So a free and easy tool to use is Loan Calculator, which you can download on the App Store or I'm sure on Google Play Store. So we're going to type in my loan amount, which is $280,000, and type in 30 years because that's my loan term, and also my interest rate, which is the lowest interest rate that I have ever seen in my entire life. 3.375. So I think this is one of the benefits of buying a house in a recession is an extremely low interest rate. I think this is like the rock bottom of interest rates. So we're freaking stoked that we are not going to be paying a boatload in interest. But check this out. If I'm going to pay for my house over a period of 30 years, that's going to cost me around $1,200 a month, which if I wanted to do is definitely doable, and I wouldn't have to pay any money out of pocket because my tenants downstairs are going to be bringing in at least $1,200 a month. So I could pay this off in 30 years, having consistent tenants over a 30-year period, and I would eventually pay out $445,000 total, because over 30 years I would be paying $165,000 just in interest. That doesn't go towards my ownership of the house. This goes to my mortgage lending company. So my thought is, how can I lower the amount of interest that I'm paying and invest more directly into my ownership of the house? Well, let's use this loan calculator and figure it out. Let's say I wanted to have the time that I paid off my loan. So let's choose 15 years. I'd have to pay about $2,000 a month, but over the course of 15 years, I would save about $90,000 just by paying off my house quicker, because the longer that it takes for me to pay off my house, the more I'm going to be paying in interest. So let's remember, 30 years, I would pay $165,000 in interest. If I paid it off in 15 years, I would only pay about $77,000 in interest. Now, what if I wanted to pay it off in 10 years? Let's check it out and type it into our loan calculator. If I wanted to pay off this loan in 10 years, it would cost me $2,700 a month, and I would actually only pay $50,000. So that would be saving $115,000 in the course of 10 years. So my goal is to pay this house off in 5 years. What that's going to cost is $5,000 a month. And at the end of 5 years, I will have only paid $24,000 in interest. So if it's possible for me to put $5,000 a month into this house, I'm gonna end up saving $140,000 in interest for paying off my house sooner. So yes, it is ambitious, and how I'm gonna fund this $5,000 a month goal of paying off my house in 5 years. One, I'm gonna short-term rent my lower level as opposed to long-term renting. This takes a little bit more input on my part, but with the right systems and hiring an Airbnb cleaning company to come in every time somebody checks in and checks out is still more profitable in Hawaii than having a long-term tenant. For now, because I want to make the most money as possible, I'm going to be short-term renting the lower level. So $2,000 will be coming from the tenants below. The other $3,000 will be coming from my company, Joey's Balloon Company. I have made over $100,000 a year with Joey's Balloon Company, but I took a pay cut so that we could come and live in Hawaii, which I think is a pretty good deal considering I'm still making a decent amount in passive income. I made $64,000 last year, and so that equates to about $5,300 a month. So putting $3,000 of Joey's Balloon Company money towards the house will leave me with about $2,300 left over. So that $2,300 will be put into savings or go towards repairs or buying groceries or other things like that. Joey's Balloon Company currently only operates in 3 cities, but we are expanding to 10 cities by the end of 2020. So that should also bring in a little bit more income. And finally, I'm going to answer the question how I'm going to turn this $80,000 into $1 million in 11 years. If home values in Hilo increase at 8%, my home will be worth over $1 million in 13 years. So I'm going to do my best to pay off this house within 5 years. That's the goal. If I did want to take the long road, I could just have my tenant pay for my house payments over the next 30 years and I wouldn't have to deal with it. However, I won't even own half the house in that 13 years, but the property will be worth over $1 million. So my goal is to fully 100% own the house as quickly as possible so that as my property value keeps rising, that's just money in my pocket. It's not liquid money. I can't spend it, but it's part of my portfolio. So let's say I pay off this house in 5 years. After those 5 years, my mortgage payments are completely eliminated, and anything I make from tenants living on the lower level is going to be straight income for me. So if I were to make $2,000 a month from the tenants living on the lower level, over 6 years, I would make $144,000, and that's just profit. If the property values in Hilo continue rising at about 8%, in 6 years, the 6 years after I pay off my house, so 11 years total, if you take into account my home's value and the profit that I've earned from tenants on the lower level, that is over $1 million. I'm not a real estate expert, so I don't exactly know what property values in Hilo here are going to do, but when we first moved to the island, one major thing that I heard from a lot of people that I was meeting with who were native Hawaiians or people who had lived in Hawaii for a long time is that Hilo is kind of the last frontier of affordable property. It's an up-and-coming city. We have a Home Depot, we have a Walmart, we have a Target, we have a bunch of fast food restaurants, we have a bunch of small businesses downtown. Houses on Oahu, where Honolulu is, and Pearl Harbor are so expensive. That island is absolutely freaking nuts when it comes to real estate. I'm not at that caliber of an investor yet to be purchasing $1 million houses, so Hilo is a great starting point for me, especially with property values going up and with new businesses coming up and more people moving from Maui and Kauai and Oahu over to Hilo because it's more affordable. We really think this is a good investment and will pan out in the long run. So that's just a little bit of my mindset and the research that went into us buying a house. I hope this was insightful to you. Don't forget to like this video. It really helps my channel and it helps other people find this information as well. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for some more personal finance and Hawaii adventure videos. If you're interested in up-to-date information regarding my investments, my portfolio, the stocks that I'm investing to, the new businesses I'm investing into, and my real estate portfolio, check out my Patreon for up-to-date information. If you're interested in getting some free stocks, I know, who knew that that was even possible? Check out my links in the description below to WeBull and Robinhood. These are two investment apps where you and I can both get a free stock, some of them valued up to $1,400, just for opening a free account and for funding that account $100. Do your own research on these companies and apps. Do not take my word for it, but these are legitimate companies that I've been using and been getting free stocks with, so I thought I'd pass along the information to you so that you can get free stocks as well. Thanks for taking the tour of my house. I really appreciate it. I'm Joey. I'll talk to you soon.